In this case, we're going to look at an example where we do have phone call tracking in place. Now, through our other company, ppcdentist.com, we have HIPAA compliant call tracking, which is what we're running here. If you're going to be doing any kind of call tracking where you are substituting call numbers, that's called DNI, dynamic number insertion. You should be doing that in a HIPAA compliant manner, because when you are making a record of who's calling, in theory that is PHI, and that does need to be treated in a HIPAA compliant way. And we have the HIPAA BAAs in place with the call tracking provider, so we are able to do this in a HIPAA compliant way. So let's take a look at this website. And now, so let's see, we have the contact form, thank you. Now let's see, we have a decent amount of traffic. It is decreasing. We can see that. It is decreasing a little bit, so I'm going to want to know, I'm going to want to see, does this decrease in sessions correlate with conversion events? So for us, we've got the contact form, we got the first time phone call. So they were doing paid search. If you look at this, over this period of time, over the last 6 months, we've got unassigned, that can happen, referral, paid search, organic search. So we got 73 phone calls from organic search, whereas 17 on the contact form. So people are using the contact form, but they're also calling, first-time callers, and that's huge. So again, what I want to know is, did these become patients? So let's come over here. It looks like we didn't start call tracking probably till around July, but if we take a look over here, we can see, and remember November's mid-month, that I can see here, we had fewer contact requests, but look at September. And we saw in the other practice as well, I think we saw that September had a little bit less organic traffic, but increase in contact requests. But over here, we've got 73 calls from organic search and 19. So you can look here, the majority of these calls came from organic search. So what I would do is now we could say, and in our call tracking data, that's a different application. It has to be different because it's HIPAA compliant. We can tell you, these are the phone numbers. These are the people who called. So we can look here and say July we had 25 calls, August 19, September. So that we are generating phone calls from organic search. So in this case, I would say, let's keep going on organic search. However, before I spend money, what I want to do is say, okay, this is a first-time phone call. These are all. How many of these phone calls became new patients? How many of these were just, again, the insurance salesman or vendor trying to follow up? And from there, we can look and see, well, all right, on this list of data that we have with our PPC Dentist company, and the product is called Call Owl, that we can actually see who called. And so now I can tell you, let's say we had 73 phone calls in this time period. We started tracking in July. So we can look and say, I can say, all right, here's a list of the names of the people who called in each month. And then I could say to you, did they become new patients? And it's very, very easy to nail that down. This person became a new patient, and this person, did not. But again, same question as we had before. We drove 73 phone calls, and did 70 of them become, new patients? Were 70 of them, vendors trying to sell us something? Only 3 became new patients? Because if only 3 of these became new patients, then the messaging on our website is wrong. So before I would spend money sending more traffic, I want to look and see, what are we doing wrong? Let's talk about these phone calls. Were they people all saying, do we take X, Y, and Z insurance? Or were they all people calling for emergency extractions, which you don't do? Or were they calling for whatever it happens to be? And you can say, okay, we had 73 calls, and let's say, half of them, let's say, 30 of them or whatever, 40 of them were, whatever it was. So 33 legit calls. Terrific. Of those 33 legit calls, how many became new patients? 10. Okay, fine. 10 new patients, and what's the value of those patients? $3,000 each? Okay, that's 30 grand in revenue, which is great. Is that more or less than we're paying for marketing? Hopefully, that's a lot more than you're paying for marketing. Now, on the other hand, though, I want to say, of the, 33 calls, and I think I said 10 became new patients, doesn't matter. We had 23 calls. What were those other 23 calls about? And again, 23 calls that were people who were potential patients who didn't become patients. And why did those 23 not become patients? And that's something we have to note. Was it a service we don't offer that we should be offering? Was our schedule too booked? Did they have an insurance that that we didn't take? Should we take that insurance? Were they? So that's really where you can get into it, because marketing, we could spend all the money we want on driving traffic, and on ads and this, but unless we look at those phone calls and figure out what is working to convert patients and why they didn't, if we know why someone didn't come into the office, then we can fix it. So that's why I really encourage everyone to do call tracking. We do offer a 30-day trial on our call tracking service. And after that, as an existing client, it's $50 a month for you, month to month. If you want to do it for a 6-month term, we reduce it a little bit. And for a year, we reduce it a little bit. But there's really no harm in doing it. And I think it's fantastic. So you can actually see, where these calls are turning into new patients or not new patients, and where the revenue you're generating is. Because without knowing what revenue you're getting from your marketing, you're shooting blind. So I hope that answers some questions. And if you have questions about your own data, please don't hesitate to let me know, and have a great day.